So, you wanna be a one-trick in Brawl Stars, do you? I don't know what that accent was, but the point still stands. You don't want to be a one-trick in Brawl Stars. Now, I know it can be very tempting, especially if you come from mobile games like Arena of Valor, Mobile Legends, Vainglory, all these MOBA-type games, because in those games it is rife to play one particular hero or champion and main that, and it actually will never really gate your progression in the ranked ladder. Brawl Stars is the opposite. It actually encourages you to play multiple brawlers and try and raise their trophy counts as much as physically possible. The reason being is you can see that all of your individual brawlers have their ranks and their trophies. Getting a brawler to 500 trophies plus is often considered a good place for that brawler to be. If you were to select one of your brawlers and only play that brawler to 500 plus trophies, and then just continue to play that brawler without trying to switch, you're going to gate yourself from a lot of the progression available to you in Brawl Stars. You'll notice that your overall trophy count is the one that contributes to the rewards that you get as you climb the ranked ladder. If you were to focus on a single brawler, you would only unlock Jessie by the time that you've hit 500 trophies. And also you'll find that it's much harder to grind trophies the further and further you get an individual brawler up. It is much more rewarding and much easier to claim trophies on brawlers that you don't play and are a lower trophy level, because you actually match up against people with similar trophy levels to you of that brawler, which means if you're a good player, you should be able to adapt quickly and grind trophies more quickly, accelerating your progression up the ranked ladder. On top of the progression aspect of Brawl Stars, you'll notice that it's also a very vibrant game with lots of different game modes, but more importantly than that, lots of different maps in those game modes themselves. What this means is it's not a one brawler fits all type of situation, and because of the rotating game mode style of choice that you have on day-to-day playing basis, you'll notice that depending on the map and depending on the game mode, your brawler might not be as viable from day to day. And that will limit your playtime and your ability to succeed, but also your progression in another form. So you'll notice that brawler viability will wildly vary between the game mode and the map that is being played. For instance, Piper, who is really good on most bounty maps because of the range and the fact that she can keep herself safe and it's pretty much all about killing, is going to suck on something like Showdown, because if she ever gets forced into close quarters, she's going to die, and also she'll be reduced in damage. Someone like Mortis, who's great on Brawl Ball, isn't that good in many of the other PvP modes, just simply because of the way that he's balanced right now. There are brawlers that will do decently across the board. Someone like Spike is pretty good in almost every brawl mode, but he is also a legendary, so he's a little bit harder to get. So what you need to be aware of is that to be successful and learn all of the game modes and learn the strengths and weaknesses of those brawlers, you need to be diverse in your playstyle. And I know there's a big inkling in all of us to sit down and say, but I just want to play this one brawler, I just want to play this one brawler to death. It's not quite like that in Brawl Stars. It forces you to be diverse, it forces you to test out different types of brawlers and see what works for you, and even if it doesn't work for you, you make it work for you, because it's the best way to progress and the best way to be adaptable across the game modes. Now, I'm not saying that you shouldn't focus on power-ups for an individual brawler, for instance. No, what I'm saying is that you should try and grind trophies across the board. If you have a particular brawler that you like and want to focus your gold expenditure onto that one brawler for the power-ups, absolutely be my guest. In fact, what Kairos TV says, or Kairos Time on YouTube, he's one of the biggest Brawl Stars YouTubers out there, he actually says that if you have a brawler that you like, and that brawler is fairly viable across all game modes, getting that brawler to level 7 actually allows you to compete with the maxed out brawlers more easily than you would have been able to before. So actually focusing your power-ups on an individual brawler is not a bad idea whatsoever, and is definitely something that you should consider doing. But in terms of grinding trophies, definitely make sure that you are focusing as many brawlers as you possibly can. That brings us on pretty nicely to tier lists, because tier lists are something that you'll see floating around YouTube a lot. And actually it's quite difficult to make a unified tier list for Brawl Stars for the reasons that I mentioned before. If you see unified tier lists like this, please take it with a pinch of salt, because it is not a good way of representing the strengths of the individual brawlers that you see, because like I said before, Brawl Stars is a very diverse game with viability of particular brawlers across every type of game mode, including different mods and including even the PvE type game modes. What I would say is that Kairos Time, who I mentioned before, does a really good job of separating the brawlers into individual tier lists for their respective games. And if you find a brawler that works across all of them, like Spike, then more power to you. But what it does do is it does show you, if you're serious about climbing and grinding to the highest levels, where each of the individual brawlers shine in their respective game modes, and also, in this particular one, their mod lists. I would go and recommend subscribing to Kairos Time if you're a Brawl Stars fan. He does incredible content, really active, and in general has some of the best Brawl Stars content on YouTube, so I'll link him in the description below. He also does these tier lists, which you guys can keep up to date with, which I think he gets a lot of help and a lot of input from really high tier players as well, so they're pretty good, and if you're really serious about climbing in Brawl Stars, I would definitely check them out. Not only will playing a multitude of brawlers help you understand those brawlers more, but it'll also help you understand how to play against them, since you'll know exactly the limits of their damage, how quickly they can charge their super, what their super does and its range, and all of the intricate complexities that you really only find out by playing that brawler itself. It's a really good way to actually just improve your play versus those brawlers as well, even if that means them going back onto one of your main brawlers, or the ones that you find most enjoyable. Afterwards, you'll have that added knowledge to work with, which is really useful in the long run when playing this game. Not only is it going to help you understand the brawlers in more detail, but it'll also help you understand their respective playstyles too. The way that you play Bull or El Primo is very different to the way that you play someone like Piper or Barley, and so that's very important to take into consideration, because it will also help you on your way through multiple aspects of this game. I hope that's helped you understand why it's not a good idea to pick a singular brawler and stick to it in Brawl Stars. I've really enjoyed this game. I'm going to continue to make content about it, although I do need some more time before I start to make educational content about it, because I need to grind trophies and also unlock the rest of the brawlers. But I'll get there, and once I do, I'll let you guys know, and we can start to look at some of the more educational aspects of this game. For those of you that are interested in learning about it now, again, Kairos Time in the description below. Best Brawl Stars YouTuber on YouTube, hands down, so I hope you guys go and check him out and enjoy him, and I will see you soon.